Sally, and today I'm going to share with you my tips on the warm-up. Whether you're a seasoned campaigner or just starting out, these tips are for you. I've helped hundreds of riders do the same thing, so let's get started on my tips for the warm-up. So when you're warming up your horse, of course, the idea is that you get some looseness, you are activating the blood flow in the muscles, and you're going from, technically having a cold horse to a horse that is then ready to go in and do the work that you want to get done in your training, and then down the road ready to go in for your test riding. These tips are mainly going to focus on your training, and it's going to focus on the very beginning of your session and the very beginning of your warm-up. So you want to give your horse the impression of being free to move forward, free to stretch each side evenly. You want to not be closing any doors on them, so to speak. You want them to feel that they can walk, trot, canter forward, whatever they need to do. And don't forget the younger horses, sometimes they like to trot or canter first without rather than walking. So if you've got a young horse and that's what's happening, that's perfectly fine. Once you've done your trot or your canter, you can then go back and do the walk then. There's no point in fighting a horse that just wants to go and get a little bit out of its system just for the purpose of getting a walk, when you can do that in a few minutes time anyway. So you want to have long reins, the longest reins you're comfortable with. Ideally the buckle, for the first 10 or 15 minutes if you can, and especially if you've got older horses, first 10 or 15 minutes should just be walking on the buckle so that those older joints can warm up and get the blood flowing, and so that don't forget, older horses might be carrying old injuries, and they're going to have bigger muscles than the younger horses, and that's going to take a little bit more time for those muscles to get up to temperature. So you want to take that time, and don't be afraid to spend it. You're actually better off doing 10 or 15 minutes of walk than anything else, really. So plan that in for your session, and you will notice the difference, and you'll get into a rhythm where you and the horse really enjoy that beginning time together at the walk. So once you've done your walk, you then want to have a trot that is again free and forward going and allowing. You don't want the horse to be thinking stop. You don't want to be closing the doors on your horse. Keep that freedom and that freeness going. Same again once you're in the canter. Keep that freedom, that forward going, that looseness is going to start to come. So the longest reins you're comfortable with. In saying that, you want to be changing rein often, and by that I mean you want to be doing loops and serpentines. Now, because you've got long reins, it's not going to be an accuracy test, so as long as you're moving your horse right and then left and then right and then and so on, that is okay. And you want the horse not to be going like a plank. You want the horse to give you that sense that it's following the rein around, or whichever way you're going. And in that way, and that's why the serpentines and the loops and the change of rein are so important. And don't be afraid to do as many loops as you can in your serpentine. Go up to 5, 6, 7 on the older horse. You might only get to 5 on the younger horse. But if you've divided the arena roughly into 5 parts, that is quite enough bend for your younger horse. Or as you warm up more, you then might get more loops in your serpentines. And don't forget that when you're riding loops as well, there's not just one. You can ride 2 or 3 or 4 loops up the long side. You certainly wouldn't be going towards the center line. Might only be going a few meters either way, and that's fine, that's great, as long as you're getting really good right bend and right flexion, and then alternatively you're getting really good left bend and left flexion. As your warm-up progresses, you can do more and more loops, or more and more in that one section, say the long side. So yeah, that change of rein is really, really important. Don't forget you've got teardrops as well that you can use. And you know, do a teardrop after teardrop after teardrop if you need to. And don't forget, of course, the activity. You want that activity starting to build as your warm-up develops and progresses. And you want, ideally, you want the horse tracking up, over tracking, and you want to be able to feel the swing in the back and the push from behind. If you don't have push from behind, you need to get that. So don't be afraid. And you know, like when you've got the longer reins, that allows the horse the freedom to go out the front door. And so you can say, come on, let's get this hind end activated. And it's the combination. So it's the right bend and flexion and hind end activated. It's the left, you know, bend and flexion and the hind end activated. It's the teardrop and the hind end activation. So you start to get a feel that, you know, the warm-up is about really getting that suppleness happening with your horse. And so when you're ready to pick up your reins, you can do that progressively, or you can do it fairly, you know, you can have a rest and then pick them up from there. But once you pick up those reins, you still need that activity from behind. You want to feel the horse pushing you, the activity that you had when you had the longer rein. The activity you had when you had the longer rein. You don't want to lose that activity because of, you know, it's so important with your training. At the same time, you want to think about your leg. You know, you want to get your position right, and you don't want to be using your leg every step. That's completely unnecessary. You want to have your, you know, make sure that your horse is going forward. If you've got forward issues, don't tackle that in the warm-up. Tackle that at the end of a ride, or tackle that in a ride once you're prepared, and then the next day expect that forwardness there. So of course, if you're not using your leg is just hanging, use the warm-up as a test for your lower leg. If you know, keep your lower leg off the horse, and then you can come with a bump of the calf and see how the horse responds. If the horse is a little slow or a little dull, then that's your opportunity to sharpen them up. And of course, don't forget, if your horse is dull in the walk, you trot. If your horse is dull in the trot, you canter. And then come back to trot, keep that energy, and you know, that's how you make sure, or that's how you reinforce that forward idea in your horse. So yeah, your warm-up is all about the suppling both sides, and repeat. Change rein, you know, lots of different lines. That is what's going to get you that suppleness. There's no point in staying just on one rein until it's good. It's, you know, that doesn't work. You've got to keep changing sides. And you want the activity to come through. You want to make sure you've still got that activity, and make sure that activity carries into the work when you're picking up the reins and you've got the contact. You've still got to have that activity. And of course, as a rider, you have to be well positioned, and your leg, you know, you want your upper body nice, you want your lower leg not hammering the horse. You want the horse to sharpen up to the leg as you go from the warm-up into your work. If you found this video useful, hit the like button. If you know of someone who would find these tips helpful, don't forget to share it with them. And if you subscribe, you'll never miss an episode, so don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate your time. I'll talk to you next time.